There are certain phone calls you never expect to receive. Calls from strangers, calls from hospitals, calls that arrive in the middle of the night. But the call that changed everything for me came from someone who shouldn't have been able to call at all. My name is Lucas Carter, and 2 years ago, my father died in a car accident. He was driving home from work late one evening when a truck lost control on the highway. The police told me the crash happened instantly. They said there was nothing anyone could have done. Hearing those words didn't make it easier. Losing someone never does. My dad and I had always been close. After my parents divorced when I was a kid, it was mostly just the two of us. We spent weekends watching baseball games, fixing things in the garage, and talking about life like friends instead of father and son. Even after I moved out and got my own apartment, we stayed connected in a simple way that meant a lot to me. Every night, right around midnight, my phone would ring and it would be him. He never called for any particular reason. Sometimes he would just ask how my day went, or remind me to get enough sleep, or laugh about something that happened at work. It became a routine, something so normal that I never imagined life without it. When he died, that silence at midnight became unbearable. For weeks, my phone stayed quiet. Every night, I found myself staring at the screen around midnight, almost expecting it to ring, even though I knew it wouldn't. Slowly, I started getting used to the silence, or at least I tried to convince myself that I was. Then one night, about 3 weeks after the funeral, my phone rang again. I was lying in bed that night, half asleep, when my phone suddenly vibrated on the nightstand beside me. At first, I thought it was just another notification, or maybe a wrong number. But when I glanced at the screen, my heart instantly started pounding. It was exactly midnight, and the caller ID showed only one name: Dad. For a moment, I just stared at the screen, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. My first thought was that it had to be some kind of glitch. Maybe the phone company hadn't disconnected his number yet. Maybe someone else had somehow gotten it. There had to be a normal explanation. Still, something about it made my hands shake as I reached for the phone. I answered. For a few seconds, there was nothing but faint static. Then I heard breathing. Slow, heavy breathing, like someone standing very close to the phone but not speaking. The sound made my chest tighten. "Hello?" I said quietly. The breathing stopped. Then a voice spoke. It told me I should lock my doors tonight. The voice was unmistakable. It was my father's voice. The same calm tone I had heard thousands of times before. For a moment, I couldn't speak. My mind was trying to process something that didn't make sense. My father was gone. I had seen his grave. Yet the voice on the phone sounded exactly like him. "Dad," I whispered. But the line went silent. Then the call ended. I sat up in bed immediately, staring at the phone in my hand. The call log still showed the number. It was the same number my father had always used. I tried calling it back, hoping someone would answer and explain what was going on. Instead, a robotic voice told me the number was no longer in service. For several minutes, I just sat there, trying to convince myself that the whole thing had been some strange coincidence. Maybe I had imagined the voice. Maybe grief was playing tricks on my mind. But something about what the voice said kept echoing in my head. "Lock your doors tonight." Finally, I got out of bed. I walked through my apartment, checking everything. It wasn't wide open, just a few inches. But I knew for a fact I had locked it earlier that evening. My hands moved quickly as I slid the door shut, and locked it. I immediately grabbed my phone and called the police. When the officers arrived, they searched around the outside of the house with flashlights. After a few minutes, one of them called me over to the backyard. Near the fence behind my house, they had found footprints in the wet grass. Someone had clearly been standing there, close enough to see inside the house. The officer told me it looked like someone had been watching the back door. Then he pointed something else out. The footprints stopped right in front of the door. There were no footprints leading away. That night, I barely slept. But just as I was starting to drift off, my phone rang again. It was midnight, exactly midnight, and the caller ID still showed the same name, Dad. This time when I answered, the voice sounded weaker, more distant, like it was coming from somewhere very far away. It said he couldn't stay much longer. Then the voice thanked me for answering the phone, because if I hadn't listened to the warning, I might not have been alive the next morning. The call ended after that. And since that night, my phone has never rung at midnight again.